Look at this gentleman playing the drums, and we're going to bring him out on the other side. Watch this. Man, oh man, look at that guy go. My arms hurt just from watching it, Zorro.
That was fun.
How you doing, buddy? Thank you for coming on.
I'm doing great. I've just been enjoying watching your show as I'm sitting there listening. This is fun. I'm going to enjoy this show. You guys have chutzpah.
No, you'll definitely have it. If one thing people have is a lot of fun on this program.
Yeah.
How you doing, man? Listen, you've been doing this for such a long time. You ever look back and just go, Jesus, I pretty much have done it all. When I look at those pictures of you from your entire life, covers of magazines to just the people we know you have played with. What's it like when you just look back on it from where you came from?
I look back on it with an incredible amount of gratitude. Me living out my dream has been like the impossible dream. It was kind of like, and the reason why I wrote the memoirs, my story is like a Rudy, Rocky, Blindside meets Forrest Gump. And I always call myself the real Forrest Gump because none of those things were supposed to happen to Forrest. Remember, like in the movie, he ends up in White House. I mean, that's been my life. None of these things should have happened if you looked at me on paper. And because I came from very impoverished circumstances of abandonment and rejection and poverty and racism and all of the different things I faced, it's just made me an extremely grateful person. That I'm grateful for the journey I've been on, because I don't think I would have turned out to be the person that I am without that hardship. And that hardship is what gave me compassion and empathy for other people, but it's also what has given me gratitude for all the amazing things that's happened in my life. And I'm still like a kid. I'm still amazed at the things that happen. When you guys were talking, I took a picture of the screen. Like, I can't believe I'm on the Suki and Scott show. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still always amazed. I still have childlike wonder about everything that I do. I'm not jaded. Nothing is like not a big deal. It's all a big deal. And I'm amazed at it myself. And sometimes I look and go, how did I get here?
Well, it's pretty big deal, because for you to say that you're still looking at us with childlike wonder, I mean, we're looking at, you played and toured with Lenny Kravitz, Bobby Brown, Frankie Valli, and the Four Seasons, New Edition, Jody Watley. This is just to name a little bit, just a little bit. Few of his friends, Philip Bailey, Lisa Marie Presley. I mean, the list goes on and on. I think that a lot of people want to know, how did it all begin, and how did you kind of will one thing to turn into another thing to another thing? What was that?
A couple of things. One, I had a mother with incredible faith, and when I was a little boy, I asked her if I could wear her. I'm wearing my orange scarf today. This is the first show I've worn the orange silk scarf, but that's what's on the cover of the book. But when I was a 7-year-old boy, I knew that there was something inside of me that was different. I wanted to be like a rock star, but I didn't know I was going to be a drummer. But I asked my mother if I could wear her scarf. And, my mother was from Mexico City. She was an immigrant. And I said, Mama, you look beautiful. I like the way you look in your scarf. You look like a rock star. I want to look like you. And she goes, and I said, can I wear your scarf for my school picture? And she goes, no, mijo, no, the boys will beat you up. You live in the United States. You don't live in Mexico. And so anyway, I talked her into letting me use her scarf, because I said, Elvis wears a scarf, and so does Tom Jones. Wow. So anyway, she knelt down and tied her orange silk scarf around my neck. And then she whispered in my ear, one day, my precious son, you'll do something phantasmical with your life. And that was the word she used, phantasmical. It was a mixture of fantastic and amazing. So I think she just made this decree over me, and this declaration. And she turned me into a dreamer, because she was a dreamer, and she had incredible faith. And she just believed that all things were possible. And so I grew up believing that myself. I used to literally have daydreams where I would be meeting the Jackson 5, or I would be meeting Earth, Wind, and Fire, and I'd be on a plane, and I would just imagine they're sitting next to me in first class. And all those things eventually happen. So I think there's the power of imagination, as Einstein said, is the most powerful thing in the world. The fact that you can imagine something, believe in something, but then if you're willing to do the work, the labor, because I feel like the gift that I have as a drummer was a free gift from God, because nobody gives themselves gifts and talents. We just born with them. But I figured that my part was like turning that seed of potential into like a mighty oak tree, because we can't make ourselves have a particular gifting and leaning in a certain area, but we can go, hey, this is the seed I was given. Now I'm going to plant this thing. I'm going to fertilize it. I'm going to water it. I'm going to protect it. And so, yeah, I just was always believing that I could do these things. And then I was a kid who put in the work. I did not start drumming until I was 16, and I was discovered as the janitor at my high school. I was a high school janitor. My after-school job was clean the toilets and all the stuff. It was a very belittling, humbling job. But the last few minutes of the shift, I would sneak into the band room, and so it was there that the band director discovered my talent and put me in all the school bands, because I was never even in the school band. So just a lowly job as a janitor. It's kind of like that scene from Good Will Hunting. You know,
I was going to say, it sounds very similar to the person who was solving the math problem.
Right.
And all of a sudden the professor walks in to Matt Damon, and there it is, solved on the board.
Yeah.
I mean, that must have been just a true awakening. And then you joined the band, and then it just kind of, it started from there. It kind of ricocheted from there.
Yeah, well, and then I played in the school bands, and then I moved down to, this was in Oregon. This was Grants Pass, Oregon. And then when I graduated, I was in a cover band that moved down to Los Angeles to get a gig at Disneyland. The band never got the gig. The band sort of fell apart, but that put me in Southern California. And I had a sister who was living in Beverly Hills at the time in a little apartment with her girlfriend. And she basically, once the band fell apart, I asked if I could go stay with her for a couple of weeks. So I had no idea what to do. I'm 18 years old. I just graduated from high school. So I came up with an idea, and I saw Beverly Hills High School. And I said, okay, I'm going to take my boombox. I bought a boombox that said Panasonic boombox, because Earth, Wind, and Fire played it on the ads. They had it in the Rolling Stone magazine. So that platinum power. So I spent my last $200 on the boombox, took a pair of sticks, a practice pad, the boombox, cranking Earth, Wind, and Fire's greatest hits. I was wearing a yellow silk shirt and pants and a yellow Panama Jack hat. I looked like Big Bird. You couldn't have missed me. I'm 18 years old, just graduated from high school. And I just decided to play on the lawn, because I thought if there's any musicians at the school my own age, they're gonna say, who's this new guy who's here? And so that's what happened. So within 10 minutes, a kid comes up to me, and his name is Kennedy Gordy. Well, he ended up being Barry Gordy's son, the founder of Motown Records. And then the other kid was Lenny Kravitz, and he came up to me. And they were all just kids then. They were nobody. They were just there. You know, Lenny was just a kid. His mother played on the Jeffersons, and Kennedy's dad was Barry Gordy. But they asked, hey, are you a new student here? And I really didn't know what to say, because you're not supposed to just be on the lawn doing what I'm doing. So I just said, yeah, I just transferred here from Eugene. So I carried on that charade and relived my senior year at Beverly Hills High without ever being a student enrolled. And then Lenny and Kennedy began introducing me to all kinds of people around LA. First TV show I ever did was on KBEV, which was the student-run school station. And so that's where it all started. And then just little things. And then I worked really hard, and people began recommending me, and I hustled.
Wow. So when you
story.
we just saw you,
What a story.
The little B-roll there with Lenny Kravitz. When you're out there and you're playing with a guy like Lenny, and you guys are playing in front of a stadium packed with 65, 70,000 people, I mean, that's got to be like a drug for you, no?
It is the biggest buzz in the world. And what's crazy is, like, when I was in fourth grade, again, I was wanting to get in the school band program, but they always said there were too many drummers, and they turned me away. So I found out they had a talent show, and I just declared myself a drummer, even though I didn't have a drum set. So I kind of conned my way into this little band they all had instruments except me. And I pretended like my drums were in the shop and they were going to get fixed, and I'll have them for the night of the show. So I literally played my first talent show in the fourth grade on a giant cardboard box that my brothers and sisters helped paint a drum set on, and I played it with my hands. But when I played into that crowd of 30 people, in my mind, I imagined there were 2 million people. And I played as if there were 2 million people. Then in 1985, when I got the gig with New Edition, we played for over 1 million people on the Washington Mall for 4th of July. It was one of those free concerts that the city puts on. And I was like, and that's how I start the memoir. I start the memoir by talking about this 4th of July, and I can't believe I'm there. And the most important thing is that my mother is going to be watching. Mama's going to be watching because it's on Showtime. And I said that it was all possible because of her, because she immigrated here and she made the sacrifices so that I could live out my dream. And then I said, but at that time, in the memoir, I say something like, but nobody knew who I really was. They just only knew me as Zorro. They didn't know I was the kid that lived in a car with his mother and lived in a tent. And they didn't know I was a kid who dug his clothes out of a Goodwill drop-off box. And so that's how the story starts. And then I'd say something like, the world said I would amount to nothing. But my mother said, all things are possible to those who believe. I believed my mother. This is our story. And then it goes into this 400-page epic story of all these things.
That is amazing.
Wow,
right? New Edition. Aren't they like Popcorn Love?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
You got a good memory, man.
Popcorn Love.
Yeah, they're like Mr. Telephone Man.
Mr. Telephone Man.
Candy Girl.
Candy Girl.
There you go.
That's the song I played on the mall was Mr. Telephone Man. That's the song.
Man, that was the jam, Zorro. Come on. That was like, yeah.
I love that you guys know all this stuff. This is great.
Well, we're a little bit younger than
Wait,
Scott.
Zorro,
you and I are a little bit younger than Scott.
Do you now? I know you're an insane drummer. Do you sing it all too, or no?
I don't sing, no. But where I make up for that is I'm a motivational speaker and a writer and a teacher and an encourager. So kind of the reason why I wrote the memoir, why I do anything I do, is I feel like the luckiest guy in the world. So the memoir, and I did an audiobook for it as well with Blackstone Publishing. That is what I have to give to the world. That is my offering. When I'm dead and gone, people will be able to be inspired by this story. People ask me, like, why did you write it? I said, I wanted to make people feel hopeful, people in the worst of circumstances that thinks it's impossible to do anything great. And also for all the mothers out there that go, is my kid going to turn out all right? I can tell you that just love supersedes everything. No one does it right. No parent does it right, but love supersedes everything. So the memoir was, I worked on it for 15 years. I started a diary when I was 10 that I kept up with into my 20s.
Wow.
I've been writing it really for 50 years, but the whole reason why I worked on it for the last 15, and I read over 300 books to learn how to write my story, was that I wanted to impart something to people to fill them with a sense of hope, to fill them with a sense of possibility. There's only so many one-on-ones I'm going to have in my life, so many motivational speaking gigs, but a book can go around the world and it can live forever. So that's really my heart. So yeah, I don't sing, but I inspire people. And I've spoken everywhere from San Quentin prison to the jungles of Ghana, Africa, to every place imaginable. And the message is always the same: to inspire people of possibilities. And so the book has the 4 themes I would say that people will walk away with is it's heartwarming, heartbreaking, hilarious, but it leaves you hopeful. And and I poured my soul into that thing.
Well, you know what? You have a great, I think it's like 2 minutes. You have a great promo for the book. And I want our audience to see it. So Jeff, play that video of the promo and let everybody see. It's Maria's Scarf, a memoir of a mother's love, a son's perseverance, and dreaming big. Watch, take a look at this.
When I was 7 years old, my mother knelt down beside me, tied her orange silk scarf around my neck, and whispered, "One day, my precious son, you will do something phantasmical with your life." With those words, my fate was sealed. Now, 50 years later, it's time I share my story. A story about the power of a mother's words to transform a child's future. I would go from surviving the rough streets of Compton to living among the elite in Beverly Hills. From dodging eviction notices to traveling around the globe with the world's wealthiest people. Though I would go on to become a world-renowned drummer, my story is really not about drumming. It's about dreaming and overcoming insurmountable obstacles to make those dreams come true. It's a love story between a mother and a son, an immigrant woman who came from Mexico to the United States to make a better life for her children. a single mother who raised 7 children alone in pursuit of the American dream. It's a story about a family's unbreakable bond and their struggle to survive fatherlessness, economic hardship, and racism. It's a story about a quirky, hilarious, and tenacious kid who refuses to give up on his dream. Part sinner, part saint, but all heart in his epic quest for significance. And it's a story about the power of friendship and how those who believe in us help to shape the course of our lives. Now more than ever, we need stories of hope and triumph, stories that bring out the best in humanity and remind us what matters most. Universal stories of love, perseverance, and the power of dreaming big. A story that kneels down beside you and whispers in your ear, one day, brave soul, you will do something phantasmical with your life.
Wow.
Just beautiful and powerful, Zorro. Beautiful and
Very
powerful.
nice.
Well, that's represents a lot of hard work. The story has taken me my whole life to write, and my vision was always to turn it into a movie and a Netflix series or a streaming series.
I could see it. I could see it. I think we need to put you in touch with George Lopez.
Yeah,
You know?
really. You know, George, you got to get a hold of George.
He has a production company.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Well, that would be great because it's the vision that I've always carried. And when people see the trailer, they go, "This is a movie. This is a series. You know, a modern day Wonder Years of a family struggling to survive." And this is a beautiful story. My mother was this incredibly beautiful woman with this amazing heart. And so when people meet me, they're meeting her because it's her in me that has managed to do all these things. I couldn't have done it without. And you know, again, I wrote the book for mothers and fathers and dreamers. People that want inspiration and hope, because I just believe that we are capable of so much more if we just wouldn't give up. Like I never went to school to learn how to write, but like I read 300 books to study this, and it has turned out beautiful. But that just meant that I had the potential all along, but we got to mine it out of there. You know, it's like a bank deposit. Like you've got to make those withdrawals every day, and everybody has the potential to do something phantasmical, and that was the word my mother used. But no, it's great. And I'm super excited about sharing this story and sharing my life and trying to make a difference. I'm 61 and, you know, who knows how long any of us have, but this is the season that I want to pour into other people and use this amazing story to inspire everyone else to live out their story.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I was going to say, you know, your mother was a beautiful woman inside and out. So was there ever a father figure for you? Was she dating? Did she have relationships?
Well, so my father abandoned me when I was an infant, but here's the crazy part. I never grew up with him, but here's the crazy part. He was a drummer as well.
Oh, wow.
And the only thing that he left me when he left me was a set of bongos. And there's a picture of me in the memoir with his bongos hanging beneath my infant feet in the stroller. And so it was almost like poetic justice. It was almost like a prophetic destiny that the only thing he left me accidentally was the bongos. And I won't give it away because it's in the book, but there's an epic encounter that I have with him at some point, and you'll go, wow, this is like incredible. It's so, but I spent my whole life sort of reaching out to this man, but he never responded. So I sent lots of letters and so as a kid, when you're doing this, it just sends like a spear of rejection, like a harpoon of rejection in your heart. But that rejection served me well because it's what made me try everything really hard. Like when I play or when I write or when I speak, I do it as if my life were on the line. Like everything matters in that moment. And so I don't think I would have been that way if I wasn't seeking that love and that assurance from him, which I never got. So it put in me a spirit of desperation. So when I play drums, it's like the last time I'm ever going to play. When I write, it's got to be my whole heart and soul in it. And when I speak, it's like, this may be the last time I ever speak. And I think that the thing that was meant to destroy me is what gave me purpose. You know, the things in life that can destroy us, if our heart is right and our heart is open and soft, I was always a forgiving kid. But if our heart is open and soft, we can make your points of pain your points of purpose. And that's what gives me zeal to inspire people to write. And when I play with all my heart, because one, I'm half Mexican and half Irish. And two is I just grew up with that sense of desperation. So it's just, this matters. And so people always say, man, you play with so much soul, or your book has so much, like a lot of high level readers have read the book and they were like, this book has more heart than any book I've ever read. Like it's made them laugh. It's made them cry. It's made them angry. But the job of an artist, and you guys too, you do it great on your show, because I was watching all the clips. I'm like, these guys are awesome. The job of us as artists is to really only one thing: elicit emotion, make people feel something, whether it's laughter, whether it's pain, whether it's sorrow, whether it's anger. But our job as artists, and so as a drummer and as a writer and as a speaker, my job is to make you feel something. And when you make people feel something, then you've changed them, because most of the world is just bland and boring, right?
Yeah.
But you guys, you made me laugh when I was watching all those clips, and you made me joyful. And I was like, these guys are awesome. This is going to be so fun.
Was it the story about the girl with the round tongue?
That I was cracking up over, but it was all the other clips,
Zorro, listen, I want to elicit some pleasure for our audience right now. I just want to, before you go, I want to show them one more clip of you wailing away, man, and doing your thing. Take a look at this. The man's incredible. Watch.
Amazing.
Amazing. Good
Amazing,
stuff.
Zorro.
Good stuff.
I mean, talk about an inspirational, 25 minutes. I mean, this was incredible.
Unreal.
Thank you so much.
Zorro,
it was really a masterclass.
Yeah, real quick, best drummer you've ever seen other than yourself?
Buddy Rich, I saw him when I was young, and I met him on the streets on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills.
Buddy Rich.
I love it. Zorro, thank you, my friend. Listen, the book is called Maria's Scarf. Jeff, throw it up there again. Memoir of a Mother's Love, a Son's Perseverance, and Dreaming Big. You guys, you got to check this out. It is just, I mean,
a fantastic book. I mean,
the reviews are incredible.
Yeah. And you know what? Can I tell you something, Zorro? This is going to become a Netflix show. I really do. I can't see it not becoming a show. I mean, it has all of the elements, the highs, the lows, like you said, and everybody is rooting for you or the main character to succeed. So hopefully somebody sees themselves in you, as a parent, like you were saying, a mother really just wants their kid to see that they can do anything that they want them to do, a father as well. And so the fact that your mom was able to plant that seed, but you were able to grow into this incredible oak tree, as you said, is pretty intense and beautiful to see.
Well, it's so sweet of you guys to say that. I'm honored and privileged to be on this show, and I hope to meet you in person one day. You guys seem like such a fun hang, and it was great being able to share this. And I just wanted to inspire all the mothers and fathers that don't give up, no matter what it looks like, no matter the hellhole you might be in at the moment. Love permeates through everything. And in the end, I've written a book about my mother's love, even through all the dark things we went through. Love will always supersede everything.
I love it. You're muted.
You're muted, Jeff. You're muted. Sorry, I'm sorry. It's like having your granddad on the show.
I don't like to interrupt that often, so I like to keep low. But Zorro texted me and told me that I will be producing this life story for him. So I just want to throw that in now. It's on record.
Zorro, thank you, my man. Continued success. Enjoy Nashville.
Yep.
And we're going to be looking
and if
for
we
you,
ever make it out to California, we'll make sure that we reach out to you and say hello.
Absolutely,
I'm going to reach out to you when I'm in New York, because I'll be there.
All right. Sounds good.
Absolutely. Do you come and play in New York? You got to let us know, my man.
Play on the show, man.
100%. That what he say?
Play on our show.
100%. Absolutely.
Always welcome.
Zorro, thank you so much, buddy.
You. Take care and God bless.
Bye, Zorro. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Suki,
Listen, I feel inspired already just by that 25-minute.
You know what? Listen, you know what he just told you? Listen, you know me, I always goof around with everything, but what he just taught me is no matter how it is, no matter where you're growing up, what the circumstances are, at the time you might be like, oh my God.
I'm never getting